streaming platform. I have not seen my link yet, but maybe I should just refresh the page and I will see that soon enough. So I'd like to say good night to everyone currently listening and who supports the police in our endeavor to maintain law and order in St. Lucia, for all St. Lucians, on all those who are visiting our beautiful island. Okay, so I've finally seen the streaming link. There you go. And I will be conversing with those who log in from time to time. You would have noticed that I had a short version of my intro, and that's because I have so much to cover and I have a guest. So we cannot keep that important guest waiting. First of all, we have some announcements, and let me get to that. We have an announcement from the Department of Infrastructure, okay, which I shall read now. So there's an urgent notice to the public. The Department of Infrastructure, Ports and Transport wishes to inform the general and motoring public that a section of the Allen Bousquet Highway from the Ice Factory to the Union Roundabout will be closed from 5 p.m. Tuesday, May 17, 2022 until further notice. This closure is necessary in order for the Water and Sewage Company Limited, WASCO, to repair a damaged 6-inch mains and speedily restore the water supply to affected areas. Motorists are advised to use alternative routes in order to avoid delays. The public will be advised when the works are completed. The Department of Infrastructure, Ports and Transport regrets any inconveniences experienced as a result of this closure. Okay, people, so please take note. Very important. We have also a flyer from the St. Lucia Arthritis and Lupus Association, and they're having this public event, and it's in collaboration with Where Ladies Talk, and it's called Strides for Lupus. And the flyer goes on to say, we're walking with a purpose to bring lupus awareness to the public, and it is from Caribbean Cinema to Pigeon Island, and that's on Sunday, June 5th, 2022, 6 a.m. onwards. Registration will be on Saturday, May 21st to Saturday, May 20th. Saturday, May 20th. So let me say that again. Saturday, May 21st and Saturday, May 28th, Constitution Park, Final Touch Salon and Beauty Supplies. Okay, so this is a very excellent event, ladies and gentlemen. There will be live music, fitness session, and educational material. And it also says here that you could call for more information, 486-7000, 486-7000. So, people, lupus, it's a very expensive ailment to treat. So please, I'm calling on all police officers and all individuals hearing my voice to please support this worthy activity. We have a few press releases. We have I'll not read the entire press release from the Ministry of Health, but let me get to it because it's important, ladies and gentlemen, especially these days. So, St. Lucia records 118 new cases of COVID-19, and it says today, Tuesday, May 17, 2022, the Ministry of Health, Wellness, and Elderly Affairs, let me just bring that a little closer to me, confirms a total of 180 new cases of COVID-19. These samples were processed on Monday, May 16, 2022, from a total of 321 samples, of which 286 samples were from the Ezra Long Laboratory and 35 samples from the Laboratory Services and Consultations Limited. These samples were collected from May 14, 2022 to May 16, 2022. This number of positive cases make up 36.8% of all the samples processed on that date. These new cases bring the total number of cases diagnosed in country to date to 24,514. So people, the cases continue to rise. We continue to, the Ministry of Health especially continues to inform people that they need to take responsibility and follow the protocols of always wearing your mask as much as possible, social distancing, and washing your hands, yeah, or using hand sanitizer. We have a press release from the Royal Senegal Police Force. Let me get to that now. So police officers attached to the Soufrière police station are investigating the circumstances surrounding the death of 54-year-old Mary Gimme of Ruby Estate, Soufrière. A report of the discovery of a lifeless body was referred to the Criminal Investigations Department of the Soufrière Police Station about 5:50 p.m. on Friday, May 13, 2022 for investigations. The scene was processed and a medical practitioner formally pronounced her dead. A post-examination to determine the cause of death is scheduled for a subsequent date. The Royal Senegal Police Force wishes to extend condolences to the family and friends of the deceased. We encourage anyone with information in relation to this incident to contact the Soufrière Police Station at 456-3620, 456-3620, or 456-4110. I repeat, 456-4110, or contact the crime hotline at 45-CRIME for anonymous reporting. Okay, and I think that's it for our press releases. Now our shout outs, we always do that. So there's a birthday shout out, and I think we have a picture going to Rosalie Collymore from Denry. Do we have that pic, Collins? Let's see if we could get that pic up on the screen. Rosalie Collymore from Denry. There you are. I'd like to say happy birthday to you, Rosalie, coming from your friends, your family. Everyone is wishing you all the best. I know you're going to enjoy it. I think it's sometime this weekend, if I'm not mistaken. But if not, whether it's now or this weekend, whatever the case may be, it's the entire month. So Rosalie, enjoy your birthday, and don't forget to send me a piece of cake. All right, we also have a special shout out going to 12-year-old Jolene Neve. Jolene Neve, she is the daughter of Police Constable 637 Renatus Neve and Fabila Yard. She lives in Texas and recently celebrated being on the honor roll in her school, having maintained grade A's in her exams. I mean, such a smart and intelligent child. This family is originally from Labrie. We at Police Insight and by extension Choice TV and the Royal Senegal Police Force, we are proud of you, Jolene. Keep up the awesome work. Yeah. And when you're ready, in my old age, when you become older, Jolene, and you have all your companies, you'll give me a job, all right? I bet you I'll still be able to work. All right, so this has been our segments. Of course, Tekla Preview, Sabina Charles, Amanda Charles, Josiah and Sandra of Lafay, Angela Hippolyte. Those of you in the chat, let's see who's there. Bob Mangal, Lynn Allen, Yulin Jabatis, good night to you. Rosalind Colima, I could see you there. Joe Yard, good night to you all. So right now we're going to take our first break, and when I come back, my guest. Stay tuned to Police Insight.
Lucia Visa credit card for everyday people, everyday moments.
How do we fix the problems plaguing this country in healthcare, citizen security, education, food security, the economy, unemployment, social development? Sometimes the best solutions come from the ones most affected by these issues, the people themselves.
My solution to crime: for my health, for tourism,
for the arts is.
Join me as we explore and discuss answers from the people, simple solutions offered by St. Lucians. Solutions Live, Mondays at 9 p.m., only on Choice TV.
Welcome back to Police Insight. Your host here, Sergeant Zachary Hippolyte of the Royal St. Lucia Police Force. And all those of you who are already in the chat commenting, thank you so much for the support. Rosalie, it's Saturday, that's your birthday. Okay, excellent. And Lady Boss Margaret Charles, thank you for your statement there. And Jam Jenny, good night to you. So let's get into it. My guest for tonight is none other than the Assistant Commissioner of Police in charge of crime. Very important post. None other than George Nicholas. Good night to you, sir. How are you doing?
Good evening to you, Mr. Zachary. I'm doing okay.
Yeah, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. And good evening to your followers in TV Land.
Yes.
And on the social media platforms as well.
It's the first time you've been on Police Insight.
I believe so.
Yes.
I believe so.
Yes.
I hope it won't be the last, though.
Yes, I don't think so. It's the first time for everything. And so your presence is timely. Viewers have asked for your presence. You're the officer in charge of crime, so hoping we're going to have a great conversation and we could educate the public on what's going on, especially in your field of work.
Yeah. Well, I'm happy I was able to respond appropriately and make an appearance in the show.
Excellent. Well, so we're getting right into it. Burning question. Recently, legislation was passed allowing citizens to be in possession of 30 grams of marijuana, making it legal to do so. Citizens want to know, and probably even some police officers, what does 30 grams look like?
Well, we have a lot of sensitization to do, both internally within the organization and with the general public as well. And it's important that you raise that question. I took the liberty in bringing some samples so that I could show the viewers. Okay, this amount here would constitute 40 grams of marijuana.
So you say that's a good amount there, man?
It's in the dried form.
Yes.
It's not packaged as yet, rolled up into cigarettes. So this amount would constitute 40 grams of.
Hold it towards your camera. There you go.
Of marijuana.
Yes.
Now, you find police officers would have to exercise a lot of discretion when it comes to enforcing that particular amendment, because police officers don't normally walk around with scales.
Exactly.
So you have to make a judgment call
as
to what amount would constitute the 40 grams. Now, if we rolled up into cigarettes, now they have different sizes of cigarettes. And this one is referred to as a jumba.
A jumba.
And it weighs 3 grams. So 10 of these would constitute 40 grams.
10 of these, what you call the jumba.
The jumba.
Okay.
So that should give one an idea as to what amount you can have or you're allowed to have legally. And I refer to both police officers and members of the general public. This other size here is referred to as the cone, and it weighs 2 grams. So 15 of these would constitute 30 grams of marijuana.
I see.
I also have a smaller version, and it's called the spliff.
The spliff.
Now, I'm not too, if I'm not pronouncing
Yeah.
the names properly, you'd forgive me for that because I'm not a user.
I'm learning too,
of
so 'cause I didn't even know there was something called a Jumba, to be honest
And
with
this
you.
one weighs just 1 gram.
Yeah.
And
about the other
obviously,
two?
30 of these would constitute 40 grams.
30 of these.
So these are the different measures or packages in which they come on the streets. I'm sure there may be more, but at least these sizes can give us an idea as to what amount one should have that they are legally allowed to have that would constitute the 40 grams.
Can you hold up the package with the nylon again? So this is, okay, that's what we're looking at. All right?
And this is in the dried form.
The dried form.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, sir, can you speak to at least, because some individuals, I mean, police have seen that maybe they have the wrong idea. They believe that if they have a spliff, one spliff or one jumba, whatever the case may be, that they could be by the roadside, by a shop, smoking, or probably even in their vehicle. Can you care to speak to that? Is that allowed? Is that okay?
Well, the legislation, I'm not sure whether they have actually put conditions under which users of marijuana can go about using it. But in terms of smoking, obviously, there would be designated smoking areas,
right,
I would think, and non-smoking areas. And I
Right.
don't think it would be allowed to
just
smoke
smoke
openly
anywhere.
in
Right.
public.
Excellent.
Because while you may have a right to possess the 40 grams, I also have a right not to be bombarded with marijuana smoke if I'm going about my business.
Excellent.
So while one may be exercising their right, once it does not infringe on another person's right.
Excellent. And having said that, Collins, I think we should go straight to the Know Your Laws. Okay, Collins, do you have that set up? Okay, so for tonight's Nathan Teammates Know Your Laws, and it's in keeping with what Mr. Nicholas have just said. We're looking at the Public Health Smoking Control Regulations of 2020. And it says no smoking in public places. And it says here, section 3, a person who smokes or holds a lit or electronic tobacco product in or within a 10-meter radius of the entrance, exit, window, or ventilation intake of an enclosed public place, enclosed workplace, or public conveyance, including a place listed in Schedule 1, commits an offense. Now, people, in another show, I will tell you about Schedule 1 because it has a lot of places listed there, and we don't have time for that. And it goes on to say, subsection 2, notwithstanding sub-regulation 1, an owner and operator of a business, including a bar, restaurant, and club, or B, a tourist establishment, may create outdoor smoking areas in open spaces. And last, subsection 3, an owner and operator of a business under sub-regulation 2 shall cause outdoor smoking areas to be A, be open-sided, B, be located at a distance at least 15 meters from any structure or area where smoking is prohibited, C, be located in an area where access by persons other than those smoking is not necessary, D, be physically separated and structurally unconnected to areas where smoking is prohibited, and E, be inspected by an environmental health officer. So that was tonight's Nathan Teammates Know Your Laws. No smoking in public places. So there you go, sir. You're definitely on the ball. And we need to remind persons that that is legislated. So let's continue with the interview. So whenever there is a police shooting, citizens raise the debate as to the capability of the police to investigate itself. Some say that, no, it's not right, the police is not able to do that, and some say it is what it is. What say you on this matter?
Okay, I've heard this comment before, and it's always at a time when there is a need for an investigation that you hear persons commenting on whether the police should or shouldn't investigate. itself. We have had a very good track record and a lot of success stories to tell as it relates to investigating our own. I can, off the top of my head, recall about 6 officers who are presently on suspension, having been charged with various criminal offenses. Not too long ago, there was a trial going on in the High Court, and a police officer, during the trial, he decided to change his plea and to plead guilty. And he was charged for causing the death of another individual. He was represented by one of the top lawyers in St. Lucia. Now, which lawyer would advise his client, especially a lawyer of that caliber, would advise his client, and a police officer at that, to plead guilty? Now, that is testimony to the quality
of the investigation,
of the, not only the investigation, but the evidence that was collected during the investigation. And that investigation was done by police officers.
Police officers.
We have had several cases where police officers, we have presently police officers who are serving time at Bodley, or former police officers, who are serving time at Bodley. And those cases were investigated by police officers. So we have a very, very good track record to be, conducting a very fair investigation. And what we do, what people have to understand is that what we do is that we investigate crimes. And that is irregardless of who committed those crimes, whether it be police officers, politicians,
civilians, whatever
whoever,
the case may be.
And I would challenge any entity in St. Lucia, whether it be the legal fraternity, whether it be the teachers' union, whether it be the medical and dental. How many of them can say that they have a system in place where they can discipline their members, where they can take the members to task? Outside of and those 6 officers I mentioned earlier who are on suspension, those were charged for criminal offenses. And we have a number of officers who are also within our disciplinary system, awaiting trial or the hearing on various disciplinary breaches that they have committed. So to say that the police should not be investigating the police,
or not capable,
when we do not have another entity to do it, it's really, really an unfair statement given our track record in investigating crimes. And that is regardless of who committed them. Excellent.
Man, I hope you guys are tuned in. And if you have a friend, like I always say, tell a friend to tune in, because we're having an excellent discussion here with the Assistant Commissioner of Police in charge of crime. We are going to take our next break, and stay tuned. We have more questions. Stay tuned. Good night. Thank you for staying tuned to the Right Choice Television and this show, Police Insight, hosted by yours truly, Sergeant Zachary Hippolyte. In studio with me is the Assistant Commissioner in charge of crime, George Nicholas. And just before we continue the interview, let me just say good night to those who have just popped in. Sheldon Lionel, how you doing? Those of you on the Facebook chat, Dusa Sugar, I see your comments on what's going on. We'll get to them eventually. Ivy Mitchell, how you doing? Good night to you. Who else is there? Madeline Plant. Yes, good night to you all. And some messages on the WhatsApp platform. Someone is saying here, advance birthday greeting going to ex-corporal 290 Monero, former police officer, 290 Monero and WPC Lovens. I believe you guys are celebrating your birthdays tomorrow. Angela Hippolyte, good night to you. And we also have the crew from Peru crew in the house. Zarella Filbert and Mom Morella are listening, always listening. Thank you so much for your support. Let's continue the interview with the ACP in charge of crime. So we have, on this show, we receive lots of information, also complaints. We have received complaints concerning lack of follow-ups by police investigators, lack of commitment to their cases, non-appearance of investigators in court. Some even say my case have been there for 2-3 years and not a word, no solving of cases. Can you speak to what I just said, and what would you say are some of the challenges faced by police investigators?
I think we may have to have an entire show to speak of challenges faced by investigating officers. One that is very, very prevalent is the hesitation with persons who have witnessed a crime to come forward to give testimony, and that is quite a big challenge when you do not have the eyewitness testimony, and as a result, we have to venture into the sciences to build a case, and that brings me to another challenge. We have a laboratory, but it is not functioning to the extent that we would like it to function. Now I know that a lot of work is being done with the lab in terms of getting it certified and so forth, and they're pretty much very close to being fully certified. So hopefully, once that is done, we'll have a fully functioning lab that will be able to process our samples, our exhibits, so that we can get results in a timely manner, as opposed to having to resort to an overseas agency to get the results done, analysis done for us. Which is what exists now, kind of? To a certain extent. To a certain extent. The lab has a limited capacity now. Okay. And what they cannot do, they would source it regionally or internationally. Okay. And that too would the turnover time would be a little longer, as opposed to if it was being done locally by our lab. So that is a major challenge. Another thing that I have to mention, in cases where police officers have to take victims to the hospital for medical treatment, whether it be in an assault case, or whether it be in an injury that the victim has sustained. Sexual offenses? Yes. Yeah. The time it takes in order for that victim to be seen by a doctor is just too long. I believe that some priority should be given to those victims, because after all, they have gone through an ordeal. Let us say, for example, in a sexual assault case, they have gone through quite an ordeal. And to stay at the hospital for 6, 7, 8, 9 hours just to be examined, which is very important, which is required in order to build a case. And to stay at the hospital for that amount of time, it's really crying for redress.
I remember a couple of years ago, the Police Welfare Association, I believe it was under President Chico, was trying their best to have some form of memorandum of understanding with the medical fraternity in trying to resolve that. But I know some discussions had commenced, but somewhere along the way it just fell apart.
Yeah, we really need to try and address this issue. For the sake of the victims, we need to try and do something to address it.
Okay.
Another thing, the availability of the justice of the peace. When somebody is taken into custody and you have to process that person in terms of preferring a charge or interviewing that person, if the person cannot afford a lawyer, then you would have to use a justice of the peace to ensure fairness and to ensure that the person is not being disadvantaged in any way. And the availability of those persons is sometimes very, very difficult. We have quite a few of them who are quite willing to assist, and I must commend them. I know Deceased Kelly used to be very, very helpful in that regard. We have Mr. Pierre from Sika St. Lucia, who is very, very helpful. We have also Mr. This man from Balata, I think he's deceased now. I forgot his name. The name doesn't come to mind now. He used to assist as well. But it's really a challenge to find a GP to really assist the officer in processing a suspect. And sometimes you'd find you're ready to go ahead and do your processing in the morning, and the justice of the peace is not available not until the afternoon, because they too have a living. They too have their other things to do, and it's when they are available. So that is quite a big challenge for investigators as well.
Okay. There's one that excuse me. There's one that comes to mind, sir. What say you to the fact that as police officers we still have to rely on our memories for age-old cases? A case has been going on for 10, 15, 20 years. When a police officer has to give evidence in court, he is not afforded the opportunity to read from his report, the report that he created, probably with his signature and his handwriting. Do you think, sir, that we have reached the time where, and we know that there are times where there are technicalities, defense lawyers pounce on probably something a police officer may have forgotten. Okay? Do you think that we have reached a point in our age of our involvement as a society, that we have evolved where we could amend certain laws, or there should be laws amended to allow police officers to read the reports? Is that a challenge in your opinion?
I wouldn't say it's a challenge, because the police officer, while you investigating a matter, you have to make notes of every step of the investigation, and that is sometimes what we don't do. We have a pocket book. We ought to make notes in our pocket book at every stage of the investigation, and there's nothing wrong in you asking or seeking the court's permission to refresh your memory from your pocketbook. Once those notes were made at the time that you did whatever you did. I think when I was at training school, it was called contemporaneously.
Yes.
Once those notes were made contemporaneously, you can seek the court's permission to refresh your memory from the pocketbook. And it's happening in particular in the traffic cases, where the officers refer to the pocketbooks to read the measurements of the accident. So in terms of the report, the report is most times derived from the notes that you would have made
throughout your investigation.
So it's just a compilation of all the bits and pieces of notes. So there's nothing wrong in you seeking the court's permission to refresh your memory from your pocketbook.
What about human resource? How is it at the CID? Are you satisfied?
I don't think there's any department.
Yeah.
There's any department in the force that is adequately staffed. I do not think so. So sometimes you have to just try and make ends meet with what you have. And sometimes officers have to go the extra mile, go above and beyond the call of duty, and you have to commend these officers for doing that, you know. But there's no department in the organization that is fully staffed.
Can you care to speak to especially one of the complaints we've had in terms of police follow-up, sir?
Well,
or what advice you'd give to our colleagues when it comes to that?
Officers have to understand that when they are given the responsibility of carrying out an investigation into a matter where somebody has been wronged and they come to the police to seek some form of redress, it is their responsibility to return that person to the comfort that they were in before that incident. Now, it is not always possible for you to do that. It is not always possible for you to solve every case. But at least you can keep in touch with the person, the victim of the crime. Let them know that you've not forgotten them. Let them know that you're still, you know, carrying out investigation into the matter. Give them a call off and on. And sometimes you would find people, the victims give the officers information. They would act on the information, but they would not give any feedback to the victim, and which is bad. At least the person would know that, okay, they have told you, look into that direction, and that you have gone there and looked, and then nothing came out of it, or you came out with X, Y, and Z. So it's a constant communication that should happen, that dialogue between the officer, the investigating officer, and the victim of a crime.
In terms of follow-up or investigative procedure, one of the complaints you also receive is, for example, a citizen going to the station or whatever department stating that they have some information or the whereabouts of a particular suspect. And what they have claimed, sir, is that if the police officer who's involved, who has the case, who's investigating the matter, is off duty, the police officers who are currently on duty would tell that individual, you need to come next Tuesday or the next time the person is on duty, and it will appear that the officers who are currently on duty are not able to assist that individual. We get those complaints. What say you to this?
I don't think it's a case where the officers are not able to assist. I think they just refuse to assist. And that is where the members of the public should ask to speak to the supervisor. So the supervisor can now, you know, direct that the officer attends to the matter. Because you see, the thing is, in investigation, time is of the essence. And sometimes the person who has lost the property would have some information as to where that property is. And if you don't act on it immediately, you may lose a chance of ever recovering it, you know? Yes. So I think that the person who is bringing that information or going to the station to do whatever, and does not get satisfaction from the officer on the desk, should ask to speak to the supervisor. And I don't think that the members of the public should tolerate that kind of behavior from police officers. I don't think so.
Excellent. We are going to take another break, and when I come back, we'll be speaking a little about homicides. Stay tuned.
Lucelect customers whose accounts are in arrears are encouraged to call or send a WhatsApp message to our credit control section at 728-9756, 728-9754, 728-9755 to make payment arrangements to settle your arrears. For bill balances, call our automated account inquiry service at 457-4433 and follow the prompts. Use myaccount.lucelect.com to obtain detailed account information and make online bill payments directly to Lucelect via debit or credit card or through your bank. Select the option to receive monthly bills via email. Customers can also pay bills through Shoppee's online or walk-in service.
We heard you missed us, and we are excited to be back with Lifestyles with Candy Nicholas on Choice Media Network. We have great information on how to enhance your health and well-being. So join us every Monday at 7:30 p.m. as we discuss with experts on disease prevention, healing, staying fit, aging gracefully, the right foods and tools for health optimization, and keeping beautiful inside and out. Life-changing information, plus opportunities to win amazing health and wellness-related gifts. Join us Mondays at 7:30 p.m. Lifestyles with Candy Nicholas, only on Choice Media Network.
Your vehicle insurance should never break your bank. With Beacon, you can get up to 35% off your fully comprehensive car insurance and still get full protection from unexpected damages with free loss of use, windscreen cover, and special perils. When it comes to your insurance, always be sure you settle for more. Call us at 458-5860 or log on to beacon.co.tt and get a quote today.
Welcome back to Police Insight. Your host is Sergeant Zachary Hippolyte, and my guest, Assistant Commissioner of Police in charge of crime, George Nicholas. Let me just go through some of the comments before I continue the interview. We'll be opening up the lines very soon. Hi, Jason. I'd like to say good night to Jason. I know you're locked in. Someone says here, good night to you, Sergeant Zachary. What else do we have here? Let's see. Big up to Good Top Cops. Good night, Sergeant. Looking forward. A very interesting program tonight. Blessings. Someone says they're Jumba. Someone asked who rolled it. I guess who rolled it. You guys are something else. Let's see what else we have here. Well, there are some ministers I don't think you'll take to task. Someone say politicians. I'm still waiting to see that. Someone says that the unions will never investigate their members, and I wouldn't say what they said after that. Someone says, what about the use of marijuana amongst first responders? Do you see the legislation change to allow them to use it? Okay, good job to you, ACP Nicholas, and we shall continue. I will get to that question very soon, Mr. Michael Monlouis. Okay, sir, so let's continue. How many homicides have we recorded thus far, and is it a concern to you?
Too many.
Too many.
Too many.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're at 23 now.
23, yeah.
The latest one in Soufre brought it up to 23.
Mm-hmm.
But that is way too many for a population of our size.
Mm-hmm.
It is too many.
Mm-hmm.
And when you can have a triple homicide in one incident or a double homicide in one incident, given our population, if you juxtapose that to the U.S., for example, when there's a mass shooting, that can be
recently
equivalent to a mass shooting. So it's really a cause for concern, and it's something that we really have to continue working hard towards trying to reduce as much as possible.
In terms of crime scene preservation and investigation, because we've had individuals, and most times people watch a lot of crime dramas. So on the television, they would see in probably about an hour,
a crime is solved.
a crime is solved, and all those gadgets and techniques used. So what say you, sir, to our competencies in crime preservation and investigation? I don't know if you want to let persons know what you think about what they see on the television, if it's real or not.
But you see, what you see on the television is the script is already written for that. You know? So all you do is just follow the script.
That's right.
And then at the end of the day, at the end of the hour or the show, whatever, the crime is solved. And they show you that they have all the resources available at their disposal.
Yeah.
You know? So, but what I can say about the competencies of our crime scene unit, that is one of the highlights of our police force, the crime scene unit. The way they manage a crime scene, the manner in which they gather the evidence, the way in which they package it, and the preservation, the chain of custody. And I'm saying this because a lot of these evidence that is collected from crime scenes by our crime scene officers, these samples sometimes go to labs overseas, regionally, internationally. And those analysts at those labs are able to receive those packages in pristine condition and to extract whatever evidence there is in those packages, those samples, and are able to do the analysis and to get positive results that they can send back to us. And that would stand up in a court of law and would convict, or will be used to convict as part of the evidence to convict criminals. So kudos to the crime scene, to the crime scene officers. I know they too are understaffed, undertrained, but they do the best with what they have. And I cannot overemphasize the importance of that unit to the organization. Over the years, they have toiled and continue to produce results in criminal investigations.
Mr. Commissioner, we have
Assistant.
well, you see, he's a commissioner, but he's assistant. Mr. Assistant Commissioner. I notice how quickly Mr. Nicholas was quick to correct me. Mr. Assistant Commissioner, we have well, the thinking in the society that when it comes to homicides, our unsolved murders is kind of high. That's what they're thinking, and most times there's this thinking that once probably 2 or 3 years where there's not been a breakthrough with a homicide case, that's it. That the police is not concentrating on that matter anymore. They just move on to the next one. What are you to say reference to that type of thinking?
That is a misconception, and it is not the case at all. The thing is, we have too many homicides being recorded for our little population, like I mentioned earlier. And you find once a homicide occurs, you have to respond to it. And when you respond, you have to pursue whatever leads that you are getting at the time. And sometimes before you can even complete that investigation, you have to respond to another.
I see.
But cases are not forgotten. Sometimes we reach to a point where we no longer have the capacity to go any further, and we have to seek regional or international agencies to assist, and that too sometimes take a while. Not too long ago, we had a case where an arrest was made in a case that occurred some 7 or so years ago. One would probably imagine that that case was completely forgotten.
Yes,
no.
yes.
Cases are not being forgotten. Cases are being worked on as new information unfolds, as results come in. Sometimes it is too slow, but I mean, we're doing the best we can with our resources within our organization, and we seek outside assistance where the need arises.
Assistant Commissioner, what more can we do as citizens to assist the police in the prevention of violent crimes and the detection of suspected offenders?
One of the things that we can do is to report incidents to the police. People would hear their neighbors or their friends firing shots during the night, and they wouldn't say anything. It's only when they find themselves in some argument or some trouble with that individual, then they report the matter to the police, and to tell the police then that every night he's busting shots in the neighborhood. But you knew that all along.
You knew that all along.
You knew that all along. And sometimes it's too late now because somebody has died or somebody is injured. But only if you had reported that matter earlier, the police could have made an intervention that would have avoided that matter where you're now reporting. You know? Another thing that citizens can do is to stay away from a crime scene. stay away from a crime scene, because once you encroach on the crime scene, there's a tendency that you would tamper with it and you'd interfere with the evidence that may be used to solve that matter. Because the crime scene tells a story. And when the crime scene officers come to investigate that crime scene, the less it is tampered with, the more of the story that is there available so that they can capture. Now, once it is tampered with, you have evidence being of no value to the case. No value. So as much as possible, just stay away from the crime scene. But what you find people doing now, instead of trying to assist a victim, they would have the phones and the cameras recording and posting it on social media. And that is cold. That is without any consciousness. That is unconscionable. To see somebody lying in a pool of blood, and instead of using your same phone to call the ambulance or call the police, you would use your phone to record.
Likes, people want likes and shares and follows, and that's what they want now.
Yeah. So as much as possible, people can stay away from crime scenes to avoid contamination of the crime scene. It would assist us tremendously in processing that scene and managing it better.
Excellent. Okay, we are going to take another break, and when we come back, we shall open up the lines. I want to hear from you and also read your questions on Facebook and also the WhatsApp texting platform. Stay tuned to Police Insight.
We heard you missed us, and we are excited to be back with Lifestyles with Candy Nicholas on Choice Media Network. We have great information on how to enhance your health and well-being. So join us every Monday at 7:30 p.m. as we discuss with experts on disease prevention, healing, staying fit, aging gracefully, the right foods and tools for health optimization, and keeping beautiful inside and out. Life-changing information, plus opportunities to win amazing health and wellness-related gifts. Join us Mondays at 7:30 p.m. Lifestyles with Candy Nicholas, only on Choice Media Network.
Dis-moi ça qui a affecté ou. Dis-moi problème pays a. Dis-moi solution parce que moi savent ou savent. Dis-moi qui manière nous savent mener cette liste devant pour faire un bon place pour l'autre génération. Dis-moi ça qui a sous chèo. Dis-moi tous les samedis soirs à 6h30 à sous Choice.
Okay, St. Lucia, welcome back to Police Insight. And those of you watching abroad, logged on to Choice TV, Choice Media Network on Facebook. This is where we're going to put the telephone line, the number on the screen, 456-0306, 456-0306. You'll also hook me up on the WhatsApp texting platform, 7200401. 7200401. If you have any questions or contributions for tonight's guests, I have a question here. Are there any plans to heighten manpower within the force anytime soon? Are you able to answer that, sir?
I am aware that there's an intention to have a recruitment, set of persons recruited to augment the numbers in the force. But I can tell you off the bat that it won't be augmenting anything. It will just be replacing officers who have left, and whether it be through retirement or resignation or what have you. But I am aware that I cannot tell you how soon it's going to happen.
You have a call?
But I know there is.
Okay, let's take that call on the line.
Hi, good evening.
Good night, caller.
Good night to you, caller.
Good night. I just need to ask a question.
Yes, caller, go ahead.
If you're in a place and like something happened in that place, there's a fight or some people misbehaving and there's an officer in the place, even though he's not on duty, do we have a responsibility like to, be part of it or say something or do something or walk away?
So you understood what she said?
Yeah.
Yes, go ahead, sir.
Yeah, the officer has a responsibility to take action. Now, if it's a situation where he cannot handle on his own, he ought to call for assistance in order to get the matter resolved. But I don't think walking away is an option. And if you have had that experience, I think you should report that matter to a superior officer. An officer should not walk away from a situation. If you cannot handle it on your own, then you call for assistance and get the necessary assistance and then deal with the situation.
You did call her? Oh, she hung up already? Okay. Yes, and that's definitely the case. There's actually, in our internal disciplinary actions, there's something called cowardice. So the officer, we're not asking police officers to be supermen, but like the ACP said, you get backup, but just to turn away and do nothing is definitely wrong, caller. Someone here is asking, what does our laws state about vigilante justice?
I don't think that is something that we would encourage at all. I think we may have had a few instances where it can tantamount to that, but that is something that we do not encourage. It's out of the window for us. We encourage persons to come to the police, make a report to the police, and then the police will carry out whatever investigation that is required to be carried out. Do not take the law into your own hands.
Facebook platform, my issue this evening is that of the way the Duga children were treated by the same justice system who's supposed to safeguard their right to shelter. Does any one of you think that the children's well-being should have been considered by the court? And if I were to even ask on that, so we have a call? All right, let's take that call. We'll get back to that. Good night, caller.
Yeah, good night.
Good night, sir. Thank you for calling.
Yeah, good night.
Go ahead, caller. Don't listen to your device or turn it off. I'm getting a feedback and crackling.
I have I had a situation. I had an incident.
Yeah, the audio is very bad. Collins.
20th of January, where I had an incident with another police. And the police from Babylon came on the scene. It took them up to 3 months before they can send a police report to the traffic. And now we are in May. Up to now, I can see that police report.
Police report?
Yeah, I've been calling over and over, and up to now I cannot get that police report.
And how long has it been, you said, caller?
20th of January.
Come again?
20th of January.
Oh, okay. You'd like to know what the ACP has to say about that?
Yeah.
Okay, so police reports, what he's saying is that there's this matter being investigated by, I think, in Barbudo, because I'm not hearing too clearly. I don't know, we have some feedback, but just speak about in terms of challenges officers might face in producing police reports in a timely manner.
I don't think we can have an excuse in a case like this. If he's referring to a matter of a criminal nature, that is one thing. If he's referring to a traffic matter, that's something else. But I can speak to either one of them. For example, in the cases of the criminal matters, those reports are being prepared by my office, or if it's the case in the South, by the superintendent in the South. There should be absolutely no excuse why a report should take months to be prepared. Once the individual who is making the report has requested that report from the investigator, that investigator should do all in his power to ensure that that file is ready so that he can submit that file so that a report can be deduced from that. Because you see, sometimes persons would lose property they would have bought on hire purchase from courts. And courts would need a police report to substantiate the fact that the person is saying that the thing was stolen.
That's right.
You know, and we need to assist those persons as much as possible by submitting those files so that those reports can be prepared in a timely manner. And there's no excuse for the delay in producing those reports. So what I would advise a caller to do is to go to the supervisor of the officer who's investigating and speak to the supervisor. And if you're not getting satisfaction from the supervisor, go to the supervisor, and continue going until you reach my office.
That's right. We have a call? Let's take that call. Let's hope the quality is better in our ears. Good night, caller.
Hi, good night.
Good night.
Good night to you, caller.
Okay, first of all, I have three comments to make. There's a lacking of updates on criminal matters, criminal activities that are taking place. People get arrested, you hear they're arrested, they were charged, and then nothing after. There are murders, example, we have the Sheriff Benoit, so many others. Why don't they use your media every Tuesday, maybe to bring maybe the PR or whatever, to give people updates? So you're really frequented with, updates of what is going on, so that way people are aware that you all are really out there and really doing your work. Because when you get no updates, it's like it's just like it didn't matter. The case happened and that was it. Another comment is that Mr. He said that the people living in communities where there's gunshots and all sorts of things. But I am sure that there are lots of officers living in some of those communities too. Now, if there is some trust or something between those people that they too can strike, because I'm certainly sure there are officers living in communities where the gunshots are just ringing out sometimes. And then, maybe it's easier for them to intervene than maybe the people in the neighborhood, because you just don't know. But just by calling, who will come at you? And I think that is the fear people have, whereby the police is more easier for him because he's an officer and he knows what to do, how to get at those people. So these are some of the comments I would like to make, and I would just like to say I'm listening to the commissioner, the ACP, and the way he speaks, he articulates himself so very clear, so very well, that you just want to sit down and listen to him explain everything.
Thank you so much, Paul.
Thank you, caller.
So, lack of updates.
I quite agree with the caller. Our PR is really not what it's supposed to be. The police is doing a lot of work, a lot of good work, both in terms of investigating matters and also our community outreach programs. And a lot of it is not being reported. And we are shooting ourselves in the foot by not putting out the information out there to the general public. When something happens, I think we ought to update the public, because if we don't update them, if we don't put out the information,
that's right,
it leaves room for speculation.
And lots of misinformation to fly on social media, yes.
And once the speculation has started, it's difficult to come back and do damage control. So it's better to put out the information out there first, and then, let the people know what is happening. I quite agree with you, caller. And then your second point, I think we mentioned it a while ago, where police officers would be aware of criminal offenses being committed and then take no action.
Yeah.
And Mr. Zachary mentioned it. It's either they're cowards or they're just lazy. But if you are aware of such a situation, I think you should report that matter, report that officer. Because they ought to take action if they can, and if they can't, then you seek assistance.
You have a call on the line? Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Assistant Commissioner. Let me go back to... So, reference to what the viewer is stating in terms of what happened in Dugas. Can you also speak to what is expected by the police when it comes to those type of domestic disputes, etc.?
You mean the incident in Dugas about the demolition? Well, you see, that demolition was a court order.
Yeah.
And there's not much anybody can do
That's
about a court order except to execute the court order. And that is what you ought to do.
That's right.
Because, I mean, it didn't happen overnight. I'm sure, you know, land disputes is something that sometimes take years before it is resolved. And in the case of the court ordering to demolish a building or you know, homes of individuals, I'm sure that would have taken quite some time in the courts. And sufficient time would have been given to those persons to vacate the premises. I mean, I don't want to go into this matter because I do not have the facts on it. But what I can tell you is that since it has gotten to a demolition stage, obviously that matter played out in the court.
That's
and then the
right.
court gave an order
That's right.
for such demolition to take place.
Yes.
And once the court has given that order, it ought to be followed.
So you just have to do the other two. May I have a call? Okay, let me check on the Facebook. Let's take a break, Colin. We're going to take a short break, probably check out what's going on with our earpieces, and we'll come right back. Stay tuned to Police Insight.
Bank of St. Lucia Visa credit card for everyday people, everyday moments.
How do we fix the problems plaguing this country in healthcare, citizen education, food security, the economy, unemployment, social development? Sometimes the best solutions come from the ones most affected by these issues, the people themselves.
My solution to crime for my health for tourism
For the arts is
Join me as we explore and discuss answers from the people, simple solutions offered by St. Lucians. Solutions Live, Mondays at 9 p.m., only on Choice TV.
Thank you for staying tuned to the show. Sergeant Zachary played here. Police Insight resumes with our guest, Assistant Commissioner of Police in charge of crime, George Nicholas. Nicholas. The lines are open 456-0306, 456-0306. Okay, I have a question here on the WhatsApp texting platform, 7200401, by the way, 7200401. Officer Hippolyte, what can we expect an update? When can we expect an update on the container of compressed marijuana found on the premises of the business space up north? Up to now, we've not heard, not a word. ACP?
What I can say is that I am aware that the investigation is still going on. You see, it's not all cases that are cut and dry, or like we use in police parlance, cook cases. Sometimes the investigation is very protracted, and sometimes it requires assistance of foreign agencies to provide assistance, because sometimes the investigation takes you beyond our shores.
Okay.
So it is still an active case, and that is as much as I would want to say about it.
Okay. All right. Another question probably in terms of active cases. Someone says on the Facebook platform, what about the Kimberly De Leon case? The murder has been going up and down. This person believes that games are being played in this case. They want the truth.
I would disagree to say that games are being played. I do not usually like to talk about active cases, and this is one of the active cases that from inception has brought on national interest.
Yes.
and so forth. And it is a case that we would like to solve, and it is a case that we are working on getting it resolved. There are obvious hurdles that we are encountering in this case, but we are relentless in our pursuit to resolving, and not only this one, all other matters that we have under our purview for investigations. It is unfortunate that it has taken some time.
Yeah.
But sometimes, like I mentioned earlier, not too long ago there was an arrest made in relation to a case that was about 7 or so years old. And,
Yes.
and so these cases are not being forgotten. These cases are still being pursued, but sometimes it just takes a little bit longer than we anticipate. Obviously, I think we would want to solve every case and bring it before the courts as soon as possible, but that is not always the case.
Someone says here on the WhatsApp texting platform, good evening. I was in a bar with that officer and they had a dispute, and when they called on that officer for assistance, he left. I'm not sure this person is talking about a separate issue, or maybe it was the same issue the caller called about, but someone is here is actually confirming that an officer who apparently was an off-duty, sir, was called upon for assistance, and that person did not render. They left.
You see, these incidents should not be left unabated. They should be reported. They should be reported.
Someone says here, police officers driving out insurance.
I mean, it's against the law for a driver to drive a vehicle without the relevant insurance of the vehicle, and whether it be a police officer or anybody, it is against the law. And once they are caught, then they suffer the consequences of the law. And being a police officer does not make you immune from the law, because we are subjected to the same laws that we enforce.
Excellent. So burglaries continue to be one of those cases that is a sore point for police and police investigators. And I'm sure that as years have gone by, we have probably evolved our strategies in terms of trying and put a dent on the occurrence of this offense. Can you tell us what have we been doing in terms of the fight against burglaries?
It's quite a bit, but obviously still not enough, because we still have a lot of reports of burglaries coming in. We have a dedicated team assigned to investigate reports of burglaries at the CID, and what it does is that it allows these officers to analyze those reports, to look at those reports more in depth, because it's a small group of them, and they all work together. So each one would know what the other is doing. So thereby you can see patterns, you can see modus operandi, you can see similarities of those cases, and you can group those cases. And sometimes when you find a series of burglaries happening in a particular area, sometimes just one person doing it. So these officers having a dedicated team to investigate burglaries, I think, is a step in the right direction, because you find these officers can, always do their briefing and find out what are the dissimilarities and try to put a dent to these matters. What homeowners can do as well is try and secure their homes as much as possible. And if you have items at your home, electronics, whatever, try and find some distinguishing mark where you can identify that property in the event it is stolen. Because oftentimes we recover property.
You have a call?
And
just now I said, would you mind holding your thought? Let's take that call. We'll get back to that. Good night, caller.
Good night, Mr. Zachary and Mr. Nicholas.
Good night,
yes,
sir.
good night to you.
Yeah, it's nice to hear Mr. Nicholas say some nice things tonight about how police should operate. But that happens what all, that is happening. Because I've had an instance, example here now, where CID had a case investigating for me. And up to now, I even got the discipline balls, and I just left it alone because I find the fellas not doing what they're supposed to do. Imagine that the guy was arrested and put at bodily for a few months. You guys only had to go to get some affidavit to bring down the guy to charge him. They never do it. So I just leave it alone. It's over a year now. Over a year now, Mr. Nicholas. So it's nice to hear you sit down there and see this thing, but that happened, my boss. So anyway, have a good night.
All right, caller. Good night.
I didn't know the beginning of the question.
He was just stating that he believes that some of the things you said in terms of how the police officers supposed to act and deal with cases, he doesn't believe it's happening. Yeah, because I guess there's a matter that is being investigated for him, and he has not gotten
satisfaction,
the results that he expects.
You see, again, we, and when I say we, I mean the general public. We have a police force that we want to have, so to speak. If we tolerate that kind of behavior from police officers, that's what we're going to get. Now, if we do not tolerate it, if we take it to the next level, you make a report to an officer, he's investigating, you're not getting satisfaction, then you go to your supervisor. You don't stop until you get your satisfaction. So if you just decide to forget about it, then that is the kind of service that you're going to be getting repeatedly. But if you take action, if you decide you're not going to tolerate it, then you will see improvements in our service.
Excellent. Someone says, good evening. It came out, your earpiece came out.
There
you go. Let me just help you out there. All right. Try to put it in. There you go. Okay. Someone says, good evening. Just want to thank Mr. Nicholas for getting in touch with me regarding an ongoing issue. So there is someone here who's stating that you have assisted them with an ongoing issue, and they'd like to thank you for that. They wasn't say who they are, but okay, let me just see what's going on there. Someone has asked, what is your plan, Mr. Commissioner in charge of crime, in terms of the increase in gun violence?
I don't think there's any blueprint for stopping the gun violence, but there are a number of activities that can be done in order to reduce on the kind of gun violence we are seeing. First of all, we don't manufacture guns in St. Lucia. Guns come in, and we know for a fact that guns come in through the legal ports of entry. So we need to stem that influx of guns through the legal ports of entry. And customs need to get the act together and to stop the guns from coming in through customs. If we are not able to stop it through the legal ports of entry, how are we going to stop it through the other porous borders that we have? So at least let us try and control what we can control. And our legal ports of entry is one that we can control. There are persons who are aware of persons in the community who have unlicensed firearms, and they don't report it. And having possession of an unlicensed firearm is what you call a strict liability offense. You don't need to tell the police your name. You don't need to tell them who you are. You don't need to tell them where you're calling from. Just call and say, well, okay, look, this person has a firearm. and then the police will take it from there. And you are not required to give testimony because possession of firearm is a strict liability offense. Once you have it, you have to prove to the court that you have a license to carry it. So it's a very easy case. And persons are refusing to bring that information to the police so that the police can act upon it.
And what's important is you stating again that it's a strict liability case where you giving that information, you're not required to go to the courts.
No.
Okay? Because the person just has to, the person is caught with a firearm. The onus is on them to prove to the court whether or not they have the right legally to have that firearm. And I want to remind individuals of our crime hotline number where you could give information anonymously, and that is 452-7463. I repeat, 452-7463. And there are times you will have that number scrolling at the bottom of the screen. Someone says, is it safe for police officers to respond to reports of gun violence without a bulletproof vest, and who should provide it?
Well, it is our responsibility to respond to any report that is brought to our attention. And it's the employer's responsibility to provide us with the necessary equipment and gear that we require to respond and to respond adequately. The issue of bulletproof vests, I believe that should be personalized. Now we have bulletproof vests, but we do not have sufficient. So what you find police officers may have to share. And I don't think that's the ideal situation. I think that each person should have their own personal gear. And we are not at that point as yet. Hopefully one day we will get there. But, it's the employer's responsibility to provide the relevant gear for the police.
Excellent. Let's see if we have another comment there. Good evening, Sergeant Hippolyte. Great show despite your loss today. Your guest is very knowledgeable and looks really relaxed and comfortable. Keep it up with the caliber of guests who comes on the show. Hashtag RSLPF moving forward. And when that person says lost, I think they are talking about the fact that I support the Arsenal Football Club and we lost a game that we should not have lost to Newcastle. So that's all right. I'm taking my licks, etc. So my final question to you, because we're soon out of time. Some time ago, I was listening to a talk show, and this passionate caller called about what appears to be, and you would verify, an uptick in stolen vehicles incidents. To the point where even recently on social media, the person's vehicle was not even stolen, but it was parked on the road near their home, and the next morning, almost the entire front of the vehicle is gone. Are those incidents a concern for you? Now, persons are also speaking about probably garages being involved. What is the police force doing in reference to stolen vehicles?
Every crime is a concern for the Royal Central Police Force, and it should be a concern to every police officer. And you mentioned burglaries a while ago. Previous to that, you mentioned homicides. The larceny of motor vehicles is another sore point in our day-to-day operations. And like we have a team dedicated to doing burglaries, we also have a team dedicated to doing larceny of motor vehicles. And we have made some great strides in that area, but it is work in progress. Not some time ago, we had a crackdown on a major case where we found over $20,000 worth of vehicle parts at an individual's home, and that person was arrested and charged. We have made some successes. We have recovered quite a number of vehicles. Sometimes they are still in the same condition, and sometimes it's just a shell. But we are continuing to work diligently in that area to crack down on that category of crime.
Final comments.
Well, I want to say thank you for having me, and thank you for the questions. from the viewers and listeners. I just want to reiterate one thing I mentioned earlier, and that is to do with the crime scenes. As much as possible, persons, when a crime has been committed, I know you're emotional, and sometimes it's your relative, and you'd want to see what happened, and you want to know. But please try not to encroach on the crime scene, because you're doing an injustice to yourself, and also you may retard the progress of the police in terms of solving that matter. So as much as possible, we'd like you to refrain from encroaching on the crime scene. And I'd like to say to police officers to continue doing the hard work that you're doing, continue making strides in your career, and to try and improve the dialogue between you and your clients, the persons whose matters that you are investigating. Try and maintain the communication, because sometimes the persons are aware that you may not solve the case, but at least if they provide you for lead, pursue it and let them know that you pursued it and what was the outcome. So let's continue that line of communication and that dialogue, and I'm sure we'll receive less complaints from members of the public.
Thank you so much, sir, for being my guest on Police Insight.
The pleasure was mine.
Okay, once again, we've come to another end of an amazing and informative episode. I'd like to say good night to former Police Commissioner Severin Mosheri and also former Police Commissioner Cuthbert Phillips. Thank you for always watching. As you know, if it's a Tuesday, it's Police Insight. Good night and stay safe.
But different. The ass boy.
Excuse me, did you say ice boy or ass boy?
What I said is next time you come through here, use the service corridor. You're dripping all over my rug. I caught malaria in Peru looking for this rug. I ain't peed the same since. Okay.
The only one who could warm Elroy was the soulful songbird, Mirabelle Chat.